Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast series. I am your host, Ann Alston, CEO and founder of ALSTNTEC LLC, and it is my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. Of course, this is one of my favorite part of the segments for the business podcast is the Authors Cafe, where we can come and sit down, relax, and learn more about the upcoming publication and books from authors from all around. And I am always excited because I get to learn, and we all get to learn about who has written the book, and even more exciting, what the book is all about. So today we have a dynamic young lady here who is into her spirit right now. She has written a powerful book called Back from Broken, A Dancer's Journey Back to Wholeness. And so with this book, it is really an autobiography of her life. And I'm going to give you an introduction of who she is. Rashika Henry is native of Georgia and was raised in Alabama. She grew up to love the medical field and spent the majority of her career working at surrounding community hospitals as a phlebotomist and a patient register nurse. She is a proud and devoted member of the Word of Truth Ministries, which her father is Senior Pastor John L. Cook. She is also a certified dance instructor, leading her dance ministry at her church, as well as teaches praise dancing in the surrounding church communities. Roshika's ministry of dancing has been featured on local television stations throughout the state, and she is also a recipient of award for trophies, and her profound work in dance ministry has been thoroughly recognized. Her passion is to empower men and women and children, and she seeks to be an inspirational speaker as well as an advocate for women who are broken. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rashika Henry to the podcast.
Hello.
Hello, Rashika. How are you, girl?
I'm wonderful. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. I am so happy to be here too, and I'm especially excited to learn more about your book. She was actually referred to me by one of our other podcast speakers who also has a powerful book, The Art of Leadership, and so I'm very happy to have her on here to talk about her book. So tell us about who you are and your ministry, your book, and how you came up with the concept of your book.
Okay. I am from a small town in Alabama, and I tell you, I am a PK, or a pastor's kid. Most of you would know, and I guess my journey kind of started there. I wasn't always a pastor's kid, so part of my journey started there once he became a pastor, and the other part of my journey was before he became a pastor at the previous church that we were going to. And both of those combined is kind of where this story is coming from right now. So Back from Broken is, like you said, I lead praise dancing. I haven't always led it, but it was introduced to me kind of by accident. And so I kind of took the challenge. And from that moment that I took the challenge, that's when I began to realize that was my passion. That's what I was supposed to do at the moment. And it began to bring on new things in my life. And I began to reflect back and realize that I was broken. And I began to realize that I'm dancing. It's a dancing ministry that's supposed to help people. And I was the one that needed help. I was the one that needed to forgive. I had a whole lot of hurt from childhood on that I couldn't let go of. And this dance group kind of did that for me. And I saw other girls in the street wanting to be a part of it. I saw girls on drugs. They would come and be a part of this dance group. And instead of, when something go wrong, instead of going to the streets, they would be in their living room praise dancing. And when they start telling me these reports, I just started realizing, okay, this is something big. And it kind of started from there. And here we are today.
Wow. So when you saw the praise dancing, I mean, was there something in your spirit that just kind of jumped out at you and said, this is something that I really want to do and that this is for me?
At first it didn't, because it was my dad's anniversary, and my sister turned to me and she said, I had this thought, why don't we do a praise dance? And I said, that's great. So she said, why don't you lead it? I said, no. I said, when you ever see me praise dancing? I've never praise danced before then. So she let it go. She said, well, think about it. So from that moment on, I couldn't let the thought go. And I went back to her. I said, I'll give it a try. And I gave it a try. It was 13 of us all together. And when I saw the final result of that, and I reflected back over that journey to where we didn't know how to praise dance to where we were, it was on. I could not let it go.
Okay. Every time I see praise dancing in church, it is such a, I don't know, it's the energy, it just changes. You know, the whole
Right.
atmosphere just changes. It's one thing we're already in there and we're spiritually bound and we're praising the Lord. And I'm 110,000% for that. But when you have somebody in there that's actually dancing and praise dancing and you see the movements and the body is just going in beautiful ways, you know, it
Right.
changes the whole entire atmosphere and it actually increases the
It
spirit in
does.
that room. And
It
that's
does.
just my experience, you know, and I'm hoping everybody kind of feels the same. But that's what I get out of it when I see praise dancing. And sometimes I want to get up there and
Yes.
I want to do, you know, I want to do the movements because it's so beautiful the way that you guys is kind of like doing it. And in my mind, I'm thinking I'm doing it with you. So
Yes.
yeah, so I'm pretty sure that, you know, when I see it, I just glow because it's such a
Yes.
beautiful piece of movement. And it's not like it's somebody is just doing regular dance. It's the whole
Right.
interpretation altogether that
Right.
I love about praise dancing. So
Yes.
getting back to your book, okay, so you mentioned earlier that you were broken. So in what way were you broken?
First of all, I come from the old time holiness church where it was the do's and the don'ts, and I honestly call it basically we were like one stone throw away from being a cult,
Oh.
and I kind of was raised in that. You know, it was no, you couldn't think on your own. There was no freedom, and when you're raised like that, it takes a toll on you, especially now you're an adult and you're wondering, what do I do with my life? I don't even know how to live. I don't even know how to do anything really. So to go from that and then to go to a whole nother level in your life, it can be detrimental sometimes. And I kept making mistake after mistake and after mistake. Matter of fact, my first marriage was to get away from the church.
Mm.
And that's what I did. And honestly, from that bad relationship to the next bad relationship, just trying to find myself through other people, looking for love in all the wrong places, and then really not turning to God because you don't know it, but you're kind of upset with him because all you learned was about the God of wrath, not the God of love and how loving he is.
Mm-hmm.
So it just went from just horrible decisions. In school, I had this coach, and I think I was 15, and he tried to rape me in school.
Oh
So
no.
that kind of was like my first sexual experience. So if you're in an old-time holiness church, you don't know anything about this. You know they're not talking to you about any of this. And then to go from that to, okay, somebody twice my size tried to take advantage of me. I didn't tell anybody because I was afraid. So it went from that to it being broadcast wide open, people finding out. So it got so bad, and its community was so small, I had to drop out of school, and I ended
Oh
up.
wow.
So after I got my GED at 16 years old, I went right into college. Now you're talking about somebody that's not ready for that mentally. I was there. So from there, I just got lost. I really did, and it went from there to almost being raped again by a white guy, and from running away from home. And I went to Louisiana, and I didn't tell anybody where I was. Just from there, and it kept going on and on and on for years and years and years, trying to find identity. And there was an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. So one day, God just kind of helped me. I wanted to commit. By the time I had both of my girls, I was going through such a depression, and so I wanted to drive my truck off the road. And if it had not been just for mercy, I was headed off the cliff. But at the last minute, I just turned because I just felt no hope. And this is somebody who's been raised in church, knowing God, loving God, but it was more of a fear of Him. It's been a real genuine love for Him. I feared Him, and I feared hell.
Wow, that is so powerful. I don't even know what to say. I'm really speechless because I can relate to that in my own life and so many of that of what you said. But then at the other point, as a mother, as a parent, I'm thinking, where is she in your life, or where's your dad in your life that can give you support, or who was in your family that could have helped you along the way? And as a parent, I can't help but feel that. Um, it's almost surreal for me personally.
Right.
But at the same time, as a parent, I want to just kind of reach out to you and just give you like the biggest hug, and say it's going to be okay, if you were my daughter. And so that's how I feel like right now. It's like I always want to reach over all the way to Alabama, where you at, girl, and just, give you the biggest hug, because I
Yes.
definitely feel what you're saying. And if any of this is in your book, God, you know,
Yes.
yes, you have to have a strong spirit to kind of read this and then try to
Right. You do.
internalize or imagine what you're going through. But yeah, God is a powerful God. He is
Yes.
there.
He
He's
is.
always been there. You just have to trust him and have faith in him. And thank goodness that you were able to pull through some of those things. But are there positive highlights in your book too? Are there
There
things that,
are
kind of came
very
out that was, very inspiration to you?
Yeah, there are positive aspects as well. To me, the highest point for me, and this is honest, was I went through so much. My mom once told me, out of all of her children, she said, "You're the one that has went through the most." And she said, "One day you have to write a book." And because it just seemed like trial after trial after trial, and then for my siblings, it just seemed a little easier. But for me, it was just, I don't know, it was not good. So it ended up where somebody told me, they said, "You know what, your purpose is not for you, it's for them. The more you go through, the more God is going to use you. There are plenty of women that need help." And now I look back out of all of those experiences, and if I had to go through all of that to get here, write this book, and to help thousands of other women, glory to God.
I have to ask, how were you able mentally to write this book? Because it's almost like you have to relive it
You
all over
do.
again to just get the words on the paper.
You do.
Oh
You
gosh.
do. My publisher actually told me that. Well, while I was writing the book, he said, "You're gonna things that you hadn't remembered in years is gonna come flooding back, and you have to be at that place where you can handle it." And what I did, I got away from everyone. I took the kids to grandmas and grandpas, and I got me a hotel room,
Oh
and
wow.
I got to myself and I prayed, and I said, "Lord, what you want me to write, how you want me to say it without necessarily revealing people and dogging people out, and just
Right.
how can I put these experiences on paper to be a blessing, not a tell-all book." So that kind of, he helped me. He helped me a lot. And revisiting that, I wept, I teared up, I laughed at how hysterical it's going to sound to people that
Mhm.
this actually happened to someone. I went through all kinds of emotions. I went through sadness and fought off depression, thinking about all of that, but through the blood of Jesus and true forgiveness, which He gave me, it happened. It
Mm.
really did. And in the words on paper, it's not I'm telling on him or I'm telling on her. It's more of
Right.
a look. Watch out for these experiences, or watch out for these type of pastors, or watch out. hear women, guard yourselves, eyes wide open. Don't be naive. Don't put yourself in situations that you can avoid, and then taking responsibility of my own, because some of the decisions that I've made, I was at an age of accountability. You can't go back and keep blaming people and blaming the church and blaming your parents for being so deep in the church and all these things right here. And I just learned to, okay, you know what, take responsibility for your own actions. And God helped me. He really helped me write this book.
Wow. Yeah, we often, I guess in my travels, for me, is from what I experience, is that we often don't take responsibility for, the things the decisions that we make. We are so dead set on, this is the decision. I am convinced this is the decision that's right for me. Not doing our due diligence to make sure we making the right decisions, because we're so dead set on doing it. And then come mistakes. And then, we make mistakes. We're human. We're flawed. But not able to own up to that is the worst mistake. It's actually bigger than the actual mistake itself, because we're not owning up to that. And yes, we have to do that. And, thank God that you were able to do that, because not many people are able to bounce back. And for you, I think that that's a brave move, to take yourself out of the situation and put yourself in a hotel and say to yourself, you know what? God is in it, whatever you want me to do is in your hands. You guide however you want me to do. I'm just going to have this pen and I'm going to write these words, and it's going to be whatever your will says it is. And that is powerful, because you are now surrendering yourself to say, it's whatever you want. It's not me. It's all faith. And I think that is powerful. So for the people that's listening, I know for some this could be a touching moment, and for some others you can probably like, oh well, but she got over it. What's the big deal? It is a huge deal, especially if you've been through a lot of trauma and depression, where you feel like you want to take your own life and you don't have that support. It is a very huge deal. And to write a book about it, you're literally reliving the whole entire lifespan all over again. So I commend that you were able to do that. I know that for me, it will be very difficult. It's not easy to go out there and publish a book and actually tell people about your life. And now everybody knows. Now that people are sort of like reading your story, okay, how do you feel about that? Like, especially when you sold your first book, how did you feel about someone actually reading about what happened to you?
I think that is the biggest part that I actually think about. Okay, because it comes out in about a week and a half now.
Okay.
I have to face these same people, and they know very private things about me, that I'm a very private person. I just don't get into your business, and I don't let you into mine. And you have those that they want to know all about you. Those people, they're going to finally know things. Church members, nosy church members, they're going to know. So I'm like, in the gossipers. So yeah, that kind of was bothering me a little bit. But then I think of the many women that, through the grace of God, that I can help. And it's worth it. And one thing I know, we all have our story and our testimonies. And sometimes people go in it one way, and they'll go in it to read your material, to criticize it, and all along they're getting help.
Right.
Because they have stories themselves, and they're things that they're not talking about. So, as a mother, I can't believe I reached rock bottom in depression, where I wanted to drive myself and my kids off the road. I just wanted it all to be over. I never thought I would ever go through something like that. I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine where my counselor told me, she said, if the only way that I will let you leave my office is you promise to take a depression pill. Otherwise, I have the authority to bring an ambulance here, and they can admit you to psych just for evaluation. So I promised to take the pill, but the pill actually made it worse for me. That's when the suicide thoughts came, and it was a up and downhill battle. I never got therapy. First of all, from being in school with the coach, I never got any therapy. From that point on, it was just downhill. I didn't see hope. I didn't see hope. I didn't see the light. I heard about the light 4 and 5 times a week. I'm at church and I hear about Jesus, but it was like he was there, but he forgot me.
Wow.
That was the deal.
So you felt like he forgot about you?
I'm fine. I did.
Yeah. Wow.
I just felt like I'm just here. I'm here, and I have no talent. I have nothing. I'm here, and I'm going through this, and I don't know how to let it be an outlet, because I was a very fearful child, because that's the type of ministry I came up under. So the fear factor in my life was humongous. I was just afraid. It wasn't good. I had loving parents, but they were committed to the church, and especially my dad. He was like armor bearer to the pastor, so it was like, I needed him, and I was a daddy's girl, but I just didn't have that. So I became mad at the church because they took away their relationship for the first half of my life. And coming through all of that, I don't care what the naysayers say. I don't care what the people that read it that has something negative to say. It's my testimony. It's my deliverance. And it's some women out there that need this. I went through this trial, and God brought me out just to tell them and give them hope. So they can look at me and say I can make it. I don't mind.
Wow. That is so powerful. I can't tell you. I'm literally speechless, really. I mean, it's just very powerful, because just the way you explained it, just very clearly, and and for everybody listening, I'm pretty sure that they are definitely speechless too. And I personally, kind of want to have that connection with you, to let you know you're not the only one who's been through situations of that type. That God is real. God is out there. There is a spiritual connection. I can actually say that. I'm not afraid to on this podcast, and like you, I'm not afraid for whoever the naysayers are on what my beliefs are, but just to know that as women, as African American women who face adversities of that type, it is really important that we know that we are not alone, and we don't have to feel like that we're just here without a purpose. There is a purpose. We just don't know what the purpose is at the time, but God showed you your purpose, and you're here. You're here now. And just the fact that any woman that's out there listening to this and having situations that they're definitely not talking about, just listen to what, Rashika is saying, that you can change no matter how bad it is. You can change your situation. And I am a firm believer in that. You don't have to live in fear, and you don't have to live like you alone or abandoned, because your empowerment comes from within, and it comes from your spirit. And, Rashika, I just want to make sure you keep your spirit strong, because that's your empowerment.
That's right.
That is your empowerment. And I'm hoping that through this podcast, that if any of this helps someone out there, man or woman, that definitely, if you need reinforcement, Rashika's information will be on this page. If you feel like you need to talk to someone, if you need to connect with me, I'm certainly available. Don't feel like you have to keep all this in, because it's definitely not, conducive to your life. So I am, for somebody who said I was speechless, I got a lot to say, right? But I'm excited. I'm speechless. I'm emotional. I'm all those things wrapped up into one. And I just want to just say that I think you've done a marvelous, marvelous job with just getting through it and overcoming it. And, and you found your purpose. And that is something you should be always, always proud of.
Yes. I am, and it feels good.
Awesome. So, Rashika, tell everybody how they can find your book and where they can contact you if they ever need any kind of related conversation with you.
Okay. Right now we're taking pre-orders on my website. Well, actually, it's my email address. We're building my website right now. So you can go to backtobroken1@gmail.com. And also you can go to jnfenterprises@yahoo.com. And you can also contact me through that backtobroken1@gmail.com. I'll be happy to talk to you. I'll be happy to, no problem. You can contact me on Facebook. It's Back to Broken at Facebook, or it's Rashika Henry at Facebook. On Twitter, same thing. It's Lady Rashika. And then on my Back to Broken 1 at Twitter. And then Instagram is Lady Rashika and Back to Broken 1.
Awesome. And again, folks, all her contact information will be listed on her page, and you can read her bio that I'm also going to post there about her book and all the other pertinent things about Miss Rashika Henry. Please be sure to check out some of the other podcasts that we have on here on the website, because we have lots to share, not just about business, but also about personal development as well. So thank you so much, Rashika, for coming on to the show today. I'm so blessed to have you here. I'm just so happy, girl. I'm just telling you.
Yes, me too. It is awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.